I'm constantly talking to like these guys who sold their companies who are worth like 50 million to 10 billion almost on the daily now. And this is the conversation I have with them. And I have this and they look at me and they're like, I had one guy tell me last week, he sold his company a couple of years ago. I think I'm going to go buy that bonsai shop that me and my daughter like so much. I was like, yeah, you're getting it now. Like, you love your daughter and you and her love bonsais. Like, why don't you buy the shop? Why don't you create it's been around for 30 years in Dallas. Like, why don't you create an e-commerce model with her? Why don't you figure out, maybe you could bring some content creators in, have fun with it, have it be like a newer generation, bring in like artificial intelligence for marketing and business ops. You can make that shop more efficient, more productive, more profitable. She could learn life lessons. And this is the thing that you and your daughter have been doing for years. How much joy would you get out of that? He's like, and it's like, so every time I meet with one of these guys, usually I'm able to convince them to kind of do more of what I'm doing. Cause like we all get in our zone where we just do the same thing. By the way, almost everyone I know is just chasing a bigger number. They sold their company, they had success, so the number keeps going up and up and up. I'm like, dude, what the hell are you going to do with all that money? Like, I don't get it. I just don't understand it. Like, when at a certain point, when you have enough friends that own yachts and vacation homes and fly private, you kind of don't need to spend any of your own money anymore anyway, because you're just doing their stuff. You know, like, I don't understand what the difference is between $20 million and 200 million. I really don't. Like, I don't know how your life changes between 20 million and 200 million. I don't understand.
Well, that's the difference between 600 grand a year and 6 million a year in terms of spending at 3%, which would be pretty substantial.
But are you really going to be spending $500,000 a month? Like, how that sounds like a job.
Like, but I'm just saying, it's like, imagine living on 600 grand a year or 6 million a year.
That's how
it's
a literal job to spend that amount of money. Like, you want days where you just kind of hang out.
More money,
totally fine. Yeah.
More money, more things, more problems. That is so true with every single person I know. One of my best friends, I love him to death, but I make fun of him all the time because he has so many things. He has people taking care of the things. He's always stressed out. And like taxes and this and that, like just keeping track of all the things is a job at that point. So I don't know, man. I'm about simplicity and relationships and like really trying to figure out what brings you true joy and cancel out everything else in life. And I don't get the whole chasing the number that gets bigger and bigger.
But the number is significant to a certain extent. You would say $20 million is probably that critical mass?
I think 20 million is a good number. No, by the way, the number's different for everyone. I mean, depending on who you are, the number could be 40 or 50, or it could be 5. So let's just say, yeah.
At what point do you say, okay, like that number is way too large?
I mean, I started hanging out with this billionaire who's just sold his company, and I think he's probably worth like 6 or 7 billion. And I'm like, what are you going to do? He's like, the same thing. I'm staying on as CEO. And I'm not going to even say what industry it is, but in my head, it is a horrible industry to have to stay in. But he's like, I've been doing it for 15 years. I'm good with it. Like, I'm like, dude, don't you want to like do something different, man? But like, to each their own. Right? To each their own. But I still, like, if you're doing it for the joy, because you really like get off on like working in that industry sector, I think that's cool. But I haven't met a single person that keeps raising the number that is happier when they hit that number. Not one in my entire life. It just seems like such a terrible thing to chase, because you think that number is going to get you something else, and that dopamine hit lasts for like 5 minutes and it's over. And then they're miserable again and chasing a new number to get God knows what. I don't even know. Again, I don't understand. Like, after a few tens of millions, how the hell do you spend that much money? Even the nicest restaurants in the world, right? Like, you can get in, buy a $25,000 Dorsia membership, and like you can get to pretty much any restaurant. Like, am I crazy, or like what?
I agree with you.
Well,
I agree with you.
That's all I think.
Yeah,
you know, flying private would be really like we're talking about, like doing a trip and like, oh man, if we could fly private, that would solve a lot of issues but that would be 50 grand. And like spending 50,000 would be irresponsible. But there's an amount of money that if we had, spending 50K would just be like, oh, that's fine.
The more important thing though is the delta. Like, what does it take to get from now to that point of being able to fly private? And is it worth it to sacrifice another 10 years of your life to then be able to upgrade from first class to private once every 6 months?
You can't travel that much. Even if you're flying private, you get it. All these guys, they got like a jet card, or maybe they own a jet. It's $1 million a year, whatever it is. Like if you're in the tens of millions, you can do that too. That's what I don't understand. Like what?
Wait, so how much money do you have to fly private 3 times a year within the United States?
Dude,
so you're probably spending 200 grand a year?
Max 200,000 a year on the 3 flight round trips, max. It's probably a lot closer to like $140,000 a year. So like, it's nothing if you have tens of millions, right? You don't need more tens of millions. You definitely don't need hundreds of millions to do that. The biggest thing I've seen is that people take ridiculous risk when they get a lot of money and then they go broke. They just go crazy. Or massive drug issues, depression, gambling, all the bad stuff. Let's just say all the bad stuff hits. So it's like, I think you're almost better off keeping it to a reasonable number so that you can actually relate to normal people in your life. Like, I think once you get into the stratosphere where people become unrelatable to you, it actually causes a lot of anxiety and mental stress because you just can't connect. We talked about this earlier. Like I think that human connection is extraordinarily important, and it's something that we don't think about. And with excess wealth, you start to disconnect from humanity. Even knowing you're worth that much money is I think it messes with your head. I really do. I think it messes with your head. So that's why I say just give it away. Just give it away. Create a foundation. Give it away, man. I by the way, like I talked about this recently, like foundations are so good. No more trust funds. Just start a foundation, put the money in there. Your kids can take a nominal salary, right? They get health insurance. You don't have to have attorneys approving stuff. Dude, foundations are the greatest.
Now, I gotta say, one thing that I've noticed by talking to a lot of entrepreneurs is that all of them want to use AI, but they don't know how it'll actually work inside their business. Like, it's one thing to use AI to write an email, but it's another to have it handle incoming calls, set appointments, answer questions, and talk to customers in real time.
And that's where today's sponsor, 11 Agents by 11 Labs, comes in. It's a platform that lets businesses build real-time AI voice agents for sales, support, operations, inbound calls, and more.
What's really impressive is just how fast it is to set up. You could launch voice agents in minutes, and they could speak in over 70 languages. Here's an example.
¿Podrías decirme qué tipo de ayuda necesitas?
It also works with tools businesses already use like Salesforce, HubSpot, Zendesk, Google Calendar, and Twilio. So instead of having to change up your entire workflow, it fits right into the systems that you already have.
And you could train these agents using your own knowledge base, SOPs, and policies. That way, the responses seem consistent within your business instead of just sounding generic.
Plus, with expressive mode, they give you way more control over the tone and delivery, so the conversations sound way more natural and human.
So try out 11 Agents by going to 11labs.io/icedcoffeehour to get started today for free. Again, that link is down below in the description. Thank you so much. Now let's get back to the episode.